Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return it to Denmark, and we're actually going to revisit one of my favourite Danish breweries today. This is Toøl, two beers as it would be in English, but we're going to have a taste of a beer that apparently is one of their best. A lot of people from Denmark have told me that this is one of their best beers. So for this one we are going to try black malts and body salts, and this one is a 9.9% Imperial black IPA, or a black double IPA, however you want to call it. But the interesting thing about this beer, it's rated 100 in both the style and overall on Rate Beer, so that website is always a good barometer of how good your beer is going to be. So this one should be something pretty special, and as I said, so many people in Denmark in the beer scene over there have told me this is a damn awesome beer, so I'm really looking forward to this. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Toøl reviews I've done before. There's maybe about 10 of those now, I think, so do check them out. And there's all the usual social media things, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd. Please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and if you want to see more beer reviews, just subscribe to the channel. And to those of you watching in Denmark, I apologise for any bad Danish pronunciations, but please do let me know some other Danish beers and breweries you'd like me to have a look at. The standard of Danish beer, I know, is very, very high from the ones I've tried already, so please get in touch and let me know some other ones that you'd like me to try. But anyway, to tell you about Toøl. So Toøl was founded by Tobias Emil Jensen and Tore Gainter, and these guys were actually students of the famous Mikkel Bjergso, who is the big boss at Mikkeller. He used to actually be a maths and physics teacher before he started brewing beer, but originally they brewed with him in their school kitchens back in 2005, and they continued to homebrew until 2010 when they founded Toøl, which, like I told you, in Danish means two beers. But when Mikkel heard that his former students were still brewing, he insisted that they do a collaboration brew, and this became the first Toøl beer, and it was a double IPA. But despite their fairly short existence so far, they've only been on the go for about 5 years, these beers have gained a hell of a lot of critical acclaim, and this is the thing you'll find with Toøl. Their beers are very, very full in flavour. I've never ever tried a bad beer from these guys, and I always look forward to reviewing Toøl beers for you on the channel. But these days they're probably distributed into about 50 different countries. They're all over the place, so there are many opportunities for you to try Toøl beer. But as is the case with Mikkeller, these guys are a gypsy brewery, so they don't have their own equipment and they use spare capacity at other breweries. And I think they use a lot of stuff at De Proef Brouwerij near Ghent in Belgium. Apparently this kind of robot brewery, but that one is specifically set up for breweries such as the gypsy brewers in Denmark and Sweden and things to go down and just brew their beer. So Toøl brew a lot of their stuff at the De Proef Brouwerij down in Ghent in Belgium, but they've got a collaborative beer bar in Copenhagen which acts as their home base as such. This is the Mikkeller and Friends, arguably the best bar of all the Mikkeller ones in Copenhagen. You really do need to go and visit it, but this bar has an exclusive bottle shop and up to 40 different tap beers at any one time, so it's a really good bar. I think they also have one over in California these days too. Mikkeller and Toøl are sharing bars all over the place, and there is actually one up in Reykjavik in Iceland too. So if you do get the chance, go and visit one of the Mikkeller and Friends bars, or even one of the Mikkeller bars. You'll find a lot of Toøl beers on there anyway. But they do, the thing that's interesting about Toøl as well is that they do have a bit of a core range, and if you have a look at their website in the description below, you can see there are beers which are quite regularly available. First Frontier is a really good one. Frostbite comes out every year. They do have a fairly nice core range of beers that you can have a try of, and as I said, all of their beers are pretty damn good. But anyway, that's enough about Toøl just now. Let's get on to the actual tasting section of this beer. So as you can see with this one, I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork. As I told you at the start of the video, this guy is a 9.9% black IPA, or double IPA, or Imperial black IPA. There's a few ways you can describe it. You can see there is the Toøl symbol on the side there, and you can see it's got some nice kind of, it's almost like a sort of tie-dye pattern that's on the label for this one. You can see there it's quite nicely presented, and I think that's some nice flowers in the background there too. Black malts and body salts. Black coffee double IPA this one, and as I told you, it has French press coffee. Best before the 29th of May 2018, so this beer is well in date. You can see the nice tie-dye top label that they've got on this, and it's a plain black bottle cap. So without further ado, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting here. So, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one. Just pop the bubble. Yeah. But yeah, no, Toøl, I would say quite easily one of my favourite Danish breweries. There's some really awesome ones out there. Omega are probably one of my other ones. They produce some really awesome things. Their IPAs especially are awesome. Toøl do some brilliant IPAs and some really nice dark beers as well. these guys are one of the best all-round breweries I've ever come across doing these beer videos for you. So if you haven't tried Toil beer before, I really would recommend that you give these guys a go. Their stuff is pretty damn awesome. But as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice sort of dark rosewood ebony colour. There's a solid 2-finger of a frothy beigey tan head on this. There are a few bigger bubbles in that head, but mainly it's a big frothy one. There's 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but other than that, the carbonation isn't actually too visible on this. There's 1 or 2 tiny little bits of sediment around the bottom, but there's some little bubbles just going up towards the bottom of that head. It looks really, really nice. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on here. So without even sugaring this beer up, you can smell the nice hops. There's a nice kind of juicy orange character to this. You can detect a little bit of the tropical fruit, but for me, without sugaring it up, it comes across as more citrusy. Those nice typical American hops that Toil like to use. It didn't tell you the hop and malt bill on this beer, but Toil very rarely tell you that. It would be interesting to know what hops and malts that they actually like to use in their beer. But as you would expect with a black IPA, you can really smell the nice kind of coffee and roasted elements in this one. There's some sweet chocolate. There's a bit of darker roasted coffee. Overall, this beer smells quite juicy and quite sweet, to be honest with you. There's a bit of bready character. And you can get a little bit of chocolate as well. It's a really quite interesting aroma, this, so do spend a bit of time before you actually try the beer and see what you get out of it. If you sugar it up a bit more, you start to get a kind of dusty hop aroma out of this one, which is quite nice. And that makes a bit of more of a floral aromatic character come out of this one. Maybe a little bit earthy as well, and that's always a good little touch to add to these black IPAs. There is a little bit of earthy character to it, but when you sugar it up, you get more of a kind of floral, aromatic, and maybe slightly piney aroma off this one. But it smells, to me, it's quite orangey and citrus. There's a definite tropical presence there though, maybe grapefruit, but that mixes. It's one of those kind of mixed citrusy and tropical fruit aromas. But there's a nice roasted, toasted malt in there, some sweet chocolate, but just a little bit of that coffee. The coffee actually, incidentally, smells quite sweet, and it mixes well with the fruity notes in this beer. So it's very interesting. As I always say, just spend a little time and have a look at the aroma. But without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. So this is Black Malts and Body Salts, apparently one of the best beers from Toil, who quite easily are one of the best breweries in Denmark. Slange. Well, on first taste, that is beautiful. There's no question about that. Absolutely beautiful beer. So as I always say, sugar the beer around your mouth a bit and just let your full palate adjust to this before you start trying to dissect the flavour. But this is a damn good beer, this. No mistake. The very high rating that it has on Rate Beer is fully justified, and that's always the case for Toil, at least in my experience. Very, very nice again. Yeah. That is damn good. The malt base is interesting. I was expecting it to be quite a bit more roasted than it actually is. There's just a light layer of roasted character. You've got this bit of breadiness, just a kind of very dark. It's almost like if you have a loaf of bread and you well fire this in the baking oven and it becomes black and ashy. It's like that. The middle of your palate is just blanketed with a bready character that has just that little bit of almost smoky kind of burnt bread. It just has that across the middle of the tongue there, and there's some sweet. As you move into the aftertaste, the coffee flavour starts to push that away and come out a little bit more. Just right down the middle of your tongue, you can feel that French press kind of roasted coffee flavour coming out. There's a chocolatey sweetness just as you move out towards the edges of the palate too. That starts to come out a little bit more, but the coffee really builds in this one as you progress to the aftertaste. This is a damn good beer. The black IPA, for me, it's a very interesting style. It's a style that I'm starting to get more and more into as the time progresses. But it's really weird because obviously you have these very dark malts, but then you have the hops with them, and it's two things that really shouldn't go that well together. These sort of citrusy and florally flavours with the really dark malt base that you would expect more of a stout, but for some reason it really just works, and it's really a very, very good style and very, very experimental. So if you've not tried black IPAs too much, I really would recommend them. They're very, very good. Mm. But yeah, you've got that really nice malt base in there. There's maybe a bit of a, what to say, there's a bit of brown sugar in there, but that's very mild. It's really a very toasted, roasted, almost black malt aroma that comes out of this one. That's exactly what you would expect. There's a bit of chocolatey sweetness as you move out from the edge of the tongue, and the coffee, I think, just builds on the flavour of this beer. But if you go to the back corners of the palate, there's a nice earthy flavour that just sits there, and that builds a good transition between the roasted malt base and the hops. And as you come further forward from the hops, you get a nice smooth sort of floral aromaticity to this beer. It's quite grassy as well, and as you go round the front curve of the tongue, you have a nice, it becomes a little bit more aromatic, I think. The hop character in this beer is very, very nice, actually. There's maybe even just a little tiny touch of pine resin in there, but that's, pardon me, quite mild. I think it's more of a spicy floral aromaticity that's coming out of this, but the hops match very well with that nice malt base in here. The fruit is good as well. If you just go behind the front curve of your tongue, you can feel the oily bubble, and that's where a lot of your fruity kind of esters come out in this one. Yeah, those fruity esters are really, really nice. There's some juicy kind of orangey citrus flavours in there, maybe actually tangerines rather than orange, but you just feel that building behind the front of the tongue, and there's a definite tropical presence in there. A bit of grapefruit, I would say, maybe even a bit of passion fruit, but for me it's a bit more on the citrusy side. I think it's an orange character that's in there, but you can definitely detect that little bit of tropical fruit that comes out with this one. But yeah, this is a damn good beer. Quite rightly has its very high rating on Rate Beer. If you haven't seen this one before, keep an eye out for it and try it. If you have seen it before, give it a go. This is a beautiful, beautiful beer, and could easily be one of the best ones that Toil have done. But I've never, all I can tell you about Toil from my direct memory is that I've never ever been disappointed with a beer that they've produced. They always produce some really, really nice stuff. So you have to try this guy. Space Frontier, actually, that they did with Brewfest, is probably one of my favourite ones I've had from Toil. It's a damn good beer. So with the mouthfeel of this one, I would say full-bodied. Carbonation is quite smooth, actually, and it's quite an oily mouthfeel as well. There's a bit of sweetness to the malt character, but as it builds, like I was saying, you start to get more kind of dryness out of it. That's the coffee flavours coming out. There's just a little bit of dry character from the earthiness in the back corners, but it smooths out as you come forward, and there is a little bit of floral aromaticity and kind of slightly spicy dryness to the hops too, but there's a nice fruity, juicy character in this beer as well, and it's really nice. And the other thing about this beer is that you don't really notice the alcohol warmth in this. It's actually very well masked. I'm not even getting any warmth from it down here, so for 9.9%, this hides its alcohol very, very well, and it tastes beautiful. That's exactly what you want. So I would say this is a very, very good beer. Actually, for its ABV, very, very drinkable. That's one of the dangerous things about this, but this is a damn good beer, and I really would recommend that you try it. Toyo, like I said, I have never ever been disappointed by any of the beers that I've tried from these guys. So if you haven't tried this brewery, go and try some of their stuff. If you have tried some of their beer, this is arguably one of the best ones that they've produced, but like I say, I've never been disappointed with anything I've had from Toyo. So go and give this beer a try. As always, if you have tried it before, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. Go and check out my social media things, go and check out some of my other reviews, but I thank you for watching my beer reviews. Go and check out Toyo from Copenhagen, especially this beer, the black malts and body salts. This is a really beautiful one. Give it a try. But I thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. As I said, go and check out all the other things, and do let me know some Danish beers to have a review of. I've reviewed a few of them for you before, but it would be cool to have some more suggestions from you guys. But until my next review, it's landed just now. Go and check out Toyo and go and try black malts and body salts. Beautiful, beautiful beer. Slàinte.